Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. No one can deny that the past few days has been the toughest for crypto. The amount of liquidations and the amount of manipulation that went in caused a lot of pain to a lot of people. If you're subscribed to the channel, you know that I had spent the past few days in A&E, taking care of my family and everything, and this is literally the first day that I can look at the charts. So in this video, I'm gonna focus on doing a full wrap-up of everything that is a must for you to understand, not just when it comes to my two trades, my long and my short, that during this event, I'm happy to say that they were in the profits. One of them already closed in profit. I'll give you an update later in the video, and I'm already planning to enter on a new position, which you do not want to miss. Thanks so much for all the love and all the comments supporting me and my family in these past few days. I am glad that even though I was 100% looking at this and wasn't able to look at any charts, no one in my community was affected by any of my positions, and I know not many channels can claim that. The vast majority of the people that have a crypto channel got their whole community wrecked, and this, guys, is one of the few communities that we were on the right side of the trade. Hit the like if you appreciate that, and if you are up for continue this streak of wins that we've been into, you can consider opening an account on 2bit. It takes just 2 minutes because KYC is not required. This exchange was built by the same people from Bybit. It offers leverage everywhere in the world, access to all the altcoins. They give you a welcome bonus of $50 as soon as you sign up. Then if you deposit, you can take a bite of the 30,000 USDT dollars of bonuses. Interestingly, with this move of the price down, that has brought some attention into Bitcoin. You can see that we bounce off from 22 into 36. Of course, there's been some news speculation on whether this was manipulation, insider trading. There were tons of whales taking advantage just minutes before the impact. Let's have a look at the most important news according to ChatGPT for today in the past 24-48 hours. We got 755 daily net outflows on BTC together with ETH, 327 on Bitcoin by itself, that is in the negative. A same-day net outflow from spot BTC ETFs is a direct headwind to spot demand, signals near-term caution after the weekend wiped out. That's a 4 out of 10 bearish. Remember that we take a contrarian stance on these things. We are not stupid. This is a channel data driven, and we've been before the impact talking about continuous very highs of inflows is not a bullish thing. If you've been watching channels that tell you that these peaks of 1,000, 900, 600 constant inflows are institutional demand, and that got you hooked into a very big long with leverage, you have to unsubscribe those channels and stop swallowing crap. We clearly state that that is not a bullish signal. That tends to mark, at the very least, a local top. And I hope now we are on the same page. Let's continue with the news. Sailor's Strategy X MicroStrategy buys 220 Bitcoin for $27 million. That is a small position. It's a 6 out of 10. I am not going to take it as bullish either. Now that this is in the negative, if it goes into extremes, of course it can turn into something bullish, at least for a local bottom. This is the first red that we have, so too early to really call it. With just 300, that is a massive bullish signal either. I'm not trying to say that. After record crypto crash, options hedging surges. And I'm not blaming them. A lot of fear came into the market in the past few days. Number one, we went into extreme fear with 24 readings on the 12th. And notice this is the full bull market, and that is the short-term holder realized price. What do you think short-term holders feel when the price is getting close to their average? That means that in average, they are at a break even. Some of them already in a loss and some of them still slightly in profit. But being close to this line is where we start accelerating. At least in this cycle, it hasn't acted as a support. Previous cycles, it used to be the full support of the full bull rally. But with COVID, we broke that trend. And in this cycle, as you can see, once we lose the line, we tend to spend more than a few months underneath. So now that we're facing that line, we do not know where the price is going to go, but we know that we need to be prepared for potential winter prices in here if we cross underneath. Not to mention, we are in a topping year, so there's always that risk that we could be topping on Bitcoin. People think I know everything, I don't know anything. I'm just saying, topping year, being below the short-term holder realized price, we just hit on the weekly, the 50 weekly. We were talking about this. We say that if we lose the bull market support band, we need to take care of this line. That's the line that is this cycle acting as support. So treat with respect 101 that we just wick into, and let's hope that that holds. A signal to enter a bear market relative to this line is to lose it and to test it as resistance. That is your bear market entry from the previous cycle, right? So now all eyes on 100K, and if we need it, if we were in the wrong position, if we were in a long and we break below that line, we need to start seeing how can we average down in such a way that the dead cat bounce allow us to exit with some dignity, right? So what was the main reason for the sell-off? I know you guys probably already have your own opinion. Make sure that you write it in the comments. That really helps the channel as well. But what most people agree out there, taking in consideration multiple articles, is the tariff shock. Risk off, Trump posting about China, and then kind of saying later on Monday, don't worry about China. So this back and forward, and then all the insider trading, people are thinking it was all to do that. Let's remember that we don't live in a bubble. This is not just about crypto. It also affects general markets. Leverage wipeout and thin liquidity. Once price gapped, record forces liquidations, and we have that range of the 20 billion that we have never seen before. If you've been watching my channel, we were tracking this green and we were saying, oh my God, that's huge. And we never had any red on the lower end, getting shorts liquidated enough to compensate for this one. That was 2.6 billion. I was already impressed with that, and consider that this went all the way into 16 billion. That is just mental. It has never happened, and I'm sure that on all the other crypto channels that you're watching just for the purpose of entertainment, because really you cannot get anything out of them that makes you actual cash. So I don't blame you if you want to have fun and watch Peppa Pig. That is also not my problem. But I'm sure you're not going to make any money by watching Peppa Pig. If you still think you can, well, that's your problem, I guess. But this is a huge liquidation. And I have to say, I was expecting in here to see some short liquidation before the large one. But as you can tell, I don't bet on that. Betting on that would have been I enter in a huge long and I get myself as part of this massacre. This didn't affect me, guys. I am still in my short. I entered at 117. I entered at 107. And each individual entry went to my community. The article with all the full detail is now public. You can read it without paying a single dime. I averaged into 112. While I was in A&E in the hospital, I was still posting to my Patreon community. Those come always first. My favorite people were informed that I was putting a stop loss on my long at 113 point something, and we closed in a small profit on the long. The short is still big in the profit at an average of 122. My last average up on the short was at 126, literally the all-time high. So at some point during the massacre, I was seeing my long in profit and my short in profit, and I was just letting the price decide whether this is going to be a dead cat bounce or if we are due for additional upside. Whichever is the option, guys, we are gonna make cash in here because we are well positioned, not because we know where we are going. We will never know. There are other reasons that people were talking about, but I'm not gonna cover them. I'm sure you already watched enough videos trying to explain everything. During Friday's crash, spot volume was 44 billion. We need to talk about the aggregated open interest. What happened to that is just crazy. It seemed, according to Axel, that this was a controlled deleveraging event, not a cascade, not a long squeeze if you want, which is pretty interesting. I would have thought that that was the case. Don't overreact to the liquidation noise. The OE well is still in a short. He's still holding 45,700 BTC on-chain worth $5 billion. So watch out with the expectation of these insiders to go lower. Ki-Young Yu says that paper Bitcoin investors have just gone underwater. This doesn't tell us if it's bullish or bearish, but one thing is clear, volatility is incoming, and we are prepared for that. Look at this. Sometimes we go into the red in the unrealized profit ratio for new wells, and that was in the middle of 2021 before going into a new all-time high at 69K. So it could be an opportunity, but it could also be a very short move up before entering into the depth of the worst of a bear market. Always when there is big potential reward. For example, in here you can go from 28 to 69 in just a few months, or you can go from below 40 into 15K. So if you don't use any risk management to let the price decide where it goes, and you think you're too smart, well, you end up deep in the water for a very long time or taking a big hit. And yes, hours ago, we are getting confirmation that the insider traders are holding 500 million in a position short. People that are new to the market tend to think that this has been the worst. Yes, it's been the worst in terms of the amount liquidated that came mostly from altcoins, but Bitcoin hasn't had any damage yet. This is a 10% correction. It's a baby correction, guys. If you think institutions are here to protect your wallet, think twice, please. This has been nothing. In the red, we can see the worst corrections. Yes, there is a trend for less volatility. We will cover how we are getting close in the top bottom to a potential good entry. Sure, that's fine. But in this cycle, eventually, we're going to get one of these guys in the red with most volatility. And don't come here telling me I was never expecting that, because that's your end. Binance lists stablecoin influx ahead of CPI. We got the FOMC minutes. No, we had that last week. We have speech from Powell today. And on Thursday, we have PPI, retail sales, housing starts, and building permits PREL, which is on Friday. Axel says that we might need a deeper washout to build a real bull case. According to the BTC regime structure shift, daily score goes from minus 100 to 100, and we are sitting at 12%. You can see that resets during the previous price action can get even into the 25. Sometimes we hit 12 first, and then we have an additional move. Notice that after hitting 12, we still get a dead compounds higher, not with a higher high, but then we get the lower low coming in at minus 25. It's not guaranteed, but it's something I will take in consideration for managing longs particularly. And yeah, I've been off with this emergency A&E and all that stuff, and I haven't taken any questions from my community, so this is the time. I hope you are improving at home. Questions for today. Markets look like they're still quite indecisive with the direction they want to go. Was this pump that cat bounce? Could we go lower? Yeah, we definitely need to look into that. At the moment, I am looking for a small long. I will tell you later in the video. My community already knows my entry is all on Patreon. I discussed that in the community. Once I enter in the position officially, after I made my mind on what I'm going to do at what price, Patreon members get an email straight to them. Lara is saying, welcome back. Please go through CPR. Virginity, totally lost. Now what? There's chaos, more downside. You need to be taking care of what's virginity in the price. On a month where you haven't lost it, it is very dangerous to go long or short, depending on where the price went away from the pivots. Watch my tutorials. They are all in the section of playlists in my channel. Trading tutorials is a must for anyone watching my channel. They're all free. I hope things are getting better with your family. Can you please tell us what levels BTC can reach on this correction? Will BTC go lower, find support at 110 and bounce? We got a CME gap there and we need to discuss about that CME. I know you probably think we already feel it, but I have something to tell you about that later in the video when we get there. No request from my side, just do your normal TA. Max is saying liquidation levels, please, in which direction? Where is the love for the shorts? Yeah, we are in a short still. Are you on the side of people that agree that the week so be filled partially, entirely? If that is the outcome, then some altcoins are going to almost zero, like Sui or Atom. I'm gonna cover altcoins in the next video, if I can manage to do that as well. Where is the plan for a new long? You probably already know that, Eric, because I wrote it in the other chat. But as usual, I'm gonna share it publicly in this particular video. Thanks God that I have all my charts on Telegram for free, so during these days I saw that many people were constantly checking them out as they progress. Even this morning I have done some new lines and I can see that they're popping up in here and people are taking advantage of that. You want to join my Telegram group? The link is in the description. Do not search on it on Google or anywhere because you're gonna find the 300 scammers that are pretending to be me. Look at this, guys. We talked for months about the nature of the aggregated open interest, putting new lower lows, new lower highs, and then breaking out to the upside. There was an anomaly that I was observing on this one, that it was slightly building a flag to the upside with new highs and new higher lows as well, or at least equal lows at around 37 billion. We hit the target of golden pocket for the aggregated open interest based on the move from here into the next level. So spot on for the aggregated open interest hitting that level. Good for me. Am I super happy? It's interesting, but I don't care. Sometimes it won't do it, so I cannot claim that I always get things right. But you cannot say that it's not good to know about these levels either. I feel like it really helped me because as we were approaching this level, I entered to that short with a lot of confidence when I was building and scaling up my short position. Thanks to this confidence, my last entry was the all-time high. And you can see that that flashed all the way into $32 billion. We went back into the previous range. We got a strong rejection in there. Price is still holding around here and the 108. And we need to talk about the weekly time frame. I've changed the rate of the daily time frame, guys. We need to look into Bitcoin status as well. October is in the red, slightly with just 1.6% down. And here is my chat about the CME gap. As you can see on this week, 113.1 got hit. That's it, right? We did not close the gap, even though in exchanges we passed through here. It is CME exchange, the one that really needs to close the gap, allowing for that liquidity, and we couldn't do it. Therefore, even if Binance went here, when CME was closed, CME couldn't do it. Therefore, price is coming now to close the gap at 110. Now, we do have other gaps. We have one at 96,800, 91,600. So watch out with those. At the moment, we are in progress trying to close this CME gap. And this, around this area, is where I'm interested in longing Bitcoin with a small position. I am talking about 109.5K. Small, ready to average down in case this doesn't work. I do not need to average down with a lot of urgency because I'm being hedged by a short that starts from 122 from this area in here. So I'm already risk-free. And at some points, I'm going to take profits from the longs, at some points from the short, and I will let you know via Patreon. I have updated the Bitcoin status. My community already has access to this live, so they are able to read that this has changed. On the 4 hour, we have an RSI bullish breakout. This breakout started from after the week into 101. CPR pivots of October at the moment are at risk. This comes after having hit the two levels of resistance in here. and hitting also the 2 levels of support. So we have a month that is very complicated. As you can see, it's no longer verging. It used to be verging because we never touched the first day, the pivots. We went around the all-time high, and then we came back to lose virginity. And I'm glad that I'm not a pivot, because that must have hurt quite a lot. On the daily, breakout retest fail, holding 37 RSI support so far. MACD, we got a new bear cross. On the weekly, I changed the green, guys. We have a rejection when exiting from a range. That is not good. The only thing that could happen for Bitcoin now is if this week, we do something huge that compensates for the damage before. We are in October, November, there is some bullishness, there is a chance. How am I facing that? I'm building along. Eventually, I need to take profits from my short if I start seeing a strong structure that is becoming bullish. At the moment, the short is just being trailed, and I need to think actually where am I gonna move it next. The breakout on the weekly failed. We are still on the lookout on Cerberus to get a buy signal. We still don't get it. And we are about to potentially lose the bull market support band. On the monthly, we also have update. It's still a healthy uptrend, but we need to talk about the monthly support. It's being tested and it could change everything. And this one affects investors. So if you're not into trading, at least watch in this video the monthly time frame chart. The timestamps are in the description. So I don't blame people. People are thinking that this is a dead cat bounce. I'm tempted to say that there is a very strong chance that this is a dead cat bounce. It's not managing even to get into 120 where we have tons of liquidity. I'm interested in entering along in here because we could have a rally from here into 120. That is doable. There's a lot of liquidity there. We'll look into that later. That will be basically coming into the scene of the crime. People are not expecting it. People are getting overly bearish. I am in a short, but when they become overly bearish, extreme fear and extreme amounts of shorts, well, I take advantage and I put some long. That's what I'm doing. We are losing the support, more bullish of this breakout on the 4 hour, but 4 hour has that advantage that is very good for faking out. So 4 hour could potentially do something like this and still go into 63, which is this area of 120. Is also the point of control of that area of trading that we were holding, building about Simpson in the past week. So it is possible that we do that, but we need to be prepared for a rejection in here and potential further downside. Volatility to the downside on the 4 hour has already peaked. We are in an area similar to this. We still don't get dots, no bullish signals like in this area. That is fine. Eventually we should get them. The global support is currently trading at 105 on the 4 hour, just in case. I'm gonna leave this in here to monitor if we can get there. On the daily, we faked out. So that's a daily fake out and it's a weekly fake out. Just for your context, getting 2 high time frames faking out are putting a lot of stress on the monthly time frame that could be about to lose support. Watch out with that. Losing support on the monthly at this time in the cycle could be really, really bad. We need to understand where is support on the monthly, so stay for that. 37 is support on the daily. 37 RSI also is, this price is 110, and it could mean that everything that we did in here was just a liquidity hand, very extended in terms of timing. But let's say this re-enters 110 and below, then we have the point of control at 96, bottom of the range is 83. So all those ranges, if you're not thinking about them, if you've been thinking only, yeah, if I go to 103 and stuff like that, you are very short-sighted. Re-entering a range opens the door for new range. And if you're not aware of that, you're just, becoming my liquidity for my own holidays. It's good to start thinking like a trader, and that's what I'm trying to teach you, particularly if you're going to be trading, right? So here we have a mixed bag, right? Things are starting to become gray in this area. First, we pinched the first resistance. That was supposed to be bullish. But then in September, we didn't hit the first resistance. We started October, Virgin, very bullish. We hit the second resistance that is bullish, that is calling for a bullish November. But now we hit this one and we did it after. So personally, in my opinion, October is becoming bearish because what we did last is to lose the pivots, the support, hit the first, the second support. Now we have kind of a forecast from CPR for November saying that we might end up putting the pivots somewhere in the middle in here and turning them into resistance. That is pretty odd. Let's see how that happened in the previous cycle before entering a bear market, just for the sake of understanding the context. In here we touched first resistance, then we went into the third. In the month of November we didn't touch resistance and we entered a bear market. In the month of December we were already playing with only support and not being able to conquer even the pivots. So that's a big shift for CPR, and we can keep it in mind in case we need it to rhyme later. Looking at the bull market support band, in here you can see that we are fooling around with 110.9. I am entering a small long around the 109 if we pinch in here, in case we have a little bit more to squeeze to the upside. But I keep in mind that 101, 100 or 98 now, because liquidity has been already taken at 102. So maybe I'm gonna be looking for averaging up, possibly 97, which is this area of volume there, given that the 105 has already been hit. We prevent the stochastic bullish cross, of course. Now we have incoming the support of 47 on the weekly. That is probably 105. Let's not lose that. The stochastic RSI has confirmed a bearish cross. And on the weekly, you can see the range again being tested 110, re-entering on the weekly. That as well puts us, as all of this, a fake out, and we at the very least go then into 96, 97, or bottom of the range at 86. And look at this, we were discarding the head and shoulders in here because the shoulder held and then it gave us a massive green candle, right? Now this is looking like an overextended right shoulder hitting an all-time high, but you see that we are below that neckline. So if you allow this to be a right shoulder, then we are breaking down. And I'm looking for a long around here, just in case we fake out from here with the elevated amount of shorts. We go into 117 or 120. I squeeze that. Maybe I add to my short. I don't know yet. Let's see if that breaks down from there later. And yeah, leverage squeeze was pretty spot on at this point. Not as accurate as here, where you had to average up. In this area, just one signal did the trick. And what a trick, because this was a phenomenal move of 18% in a very short span. So bravo to the signal. It has been very close to the area where it should have print a buy, but not yet. SOPR, plenty of people selling at a loss, as you will expect. Ethereum as well was at below the first percentile, so that gave already a move up of 13, but from the lows it was a move up of 24%, just a few hours based on this particular signal. These indicators are all in my shop if you want to have access to automated trading from TradingView, or if you want to get unlimited access from Telegram as well. Let's go to top bottom weekly. You can see we are entering in the red area of the volatility to the downside. Support comes in at around 0.14 negative. And I really want to know where is that. So I'm going to use 0.14 in here. And that comes in at around 98.3K. Remember, on a closing basis, that should be support, because in the whole history of Bitcoin, it has failed only once. And I'm going to show you where it failed in here, because it pinched and it reclaimed. So if we were to go below 98.3K, that means that we are coming out of the volatility to the downside this time. But, you know, considering along there, that gives me reassurance for my area where to average down on my long in case my entry of 109 wasn't great. So that matches also my criteria of leaving at least 10K to average up or down. And something that is bearish is that after this whole period of a month and a half of longs that we were saying, well, in a bull market, Up to 2 months liquidating longs is acceptable. After that, we start looking like a bear market. Too long liquidating longs is a symptom of bear market or even beginning of bear market. You can see it in here. And our period of longs being liquidated and dominated has come back. Now it starts from late August into late October. So it's starting to look like gray area. You can tell why I was expecting shorts to get a big liquidation. That would have been a great thing to tell you if you are on the long side. But extending this is starting to sound like we are stretching it too much into the bearish territory. You can see that now we are well below the orange line on the oscillator of futures. That means that we should be looking for longs. At least if we did in this area, that will have been a great long, or in this area. So I feel confidence from this, together with other things that I'm going to show you later, to start building it, not to be 100% accurate, spot on the entry. As I told you, Cerberus is getting very close to the area of the warning buy. It's been already here, but now with this price action is coming back. Hopefully it crosses the 10 and we get a decent thing. Remember that in the bear market, entering in here, we got a warning buy that started at 49k. We kept giving buys up until 33k. And then we rallied from that into 48k. So if you were taking these signals and they were wrong, you still get an exit at 48k before bear market. And you got a warning sell at 48k. So, you have in this channel so much data that is valid. And if you're confused, you know what trades I'm taking anyway, so you understand my train of thoughts. We took all this liquidity. This was the biggest in the short term. 1, 2, 3. 4 is still on the table, but look, that was in a few seconds all gone. That means that if price goes lower, this motivation is no longer on the table. So if we start putting lows in here, it means that probably they want to go for 4. Where is 4? 98k. Yeah, we got an overlap there as well. But if we don't have the strength really to push it that low into 4, then I'm looking for these crumbles in here, 117, 120. Of course, 127 and 28 is very heavy, but we need a shift in the sentiment to get back there, guys. Yeah, we took all of this. Next is 95. That is the center of the long-term liquidity as well. Good to know. And I left this untouched because we talked about this for a month and you probably thought, oh, I'm done with you talking about this. No, I wasn't done with you. You should have listened and look how it looks. Just take the 2 pictures, print them, put them on the wall like this. Every day when you brush your teeth, you're going to have these 2 things in front of your face with the mirror, with an arrow saying, I didn't pay attention to that. And I'm assuming you brush your teeth, but well, anyways, let's move on. On the last 30 days, we got liquidity at 110 and at 108. To the upside, it's a little bit less on the 30-day. The order book is looking like this. The shorts from 126 left after the price went into these lows. There seems to be a shift into support at 99. Now it's been moved to 100k.6. There's another order of 28 million at 105. I don't see much resistance in here. Purple wells pointing down, everybody going sideways or slightly lower. Let's look at Market Monkey Terminal on Binance. We see some support at 108 with 800. The order book is very thin for a Tuesday. I'm very surprised. I can tell, I didn't look at this on Monday, but I can tell that definitely many players are off the game. Okay, that's kind of the symptom. And on CBD, you see aggressive sellers are dominating, pointing down. Net shorts is increasing. This supports my idea of taking a short-term long, and the longs just had hit massively. They are sitting at the lower end, so by entering in a small long, I am becoming part of an elite of traders that are entering in a long. I'm not saying I'm gonna get it right. It's a small long, but I follow this kind of environment for my trading. I prefer to be the only one, ideally, doing something. Funding rates in the negative, price going down into 111, that could also be a bullish signal. Extreme fear recently on a week down, deleveraging the market from longs primarily, long signal. Order book in the green in here again. Some people ask me on Twitter, on Friday you were talking about the possibility of price going higher, and it did go higher before it crashed. Number one. Two, my positions were designed to be wrong. We do pain first trading, which means that every trade that we take, the first train of thoughts is not how much I'm gonna make, it's how much I'm gonna lose. And thanks to that, even if the move up was so less than I was expecting based on what I was seeing on Friday, the typical Friday that pumps, still, we didn't lose a single dime. We got all those liquidations on the top end. The order is pretty thin in volume, so take with a pinch of salt all these orders of buy that are limit orders that can be removed, changed on market open. We got 824,000 of delta affecting shorts. That's another one of my alpha, and I'm gonna decrease the open interest in here. Remember that we were targeting 117. That was my first order, then 107. So where is the open interest now? We need to decrease this. That got taken out again. There is one at 117 and one at 122. So the 170 is a low-hanging fruit now. If I manage to enter in my long, I'll keep that in mind. And look at the fair value gaps. Around Friday, we have all the way down. And I'm telling you, I never expected that I was going to record the next video and tell you that we took all of them in 3 stupid candles, okay? No way I can anticipate that, but that's what we did. We took all of them up until 102. Below is what I care. I want to see where are the fatty ones. The dangerous ones in here are 88 and 85. So if we have to do a lower low with some sort of Fibonacci extension from the high to the low, and let's say we don't move higher now than 115.8, then the extension of 1 puts you at 91K. The golden pocket puts you at around 76.5. And I'm hoping that we don't have to go that low, but you know, this is on the table, guys. This is possible. The price is telling you this is within reach. No, I don't care about the institutions. Michael, stupid sailor. I don't care about any crap. No, but wait. This, I don't know, Trump Jr. is, no. Get out of my channel. And here we don't do stupid things. This is price. This is math. Math doesn't lie. Science is what we want to do in here. So upside for this fat fair value gap ends at 121K. So that is against my thesis of a push up with price. There's an overlap of daily and 4 hour up until 118.5. After that, we just have the 4 hour ending at 121. So let's do the wrap up. We are rallying like a boss as short that average up the last time on the all-time high. We are protecting that one with a stop loss, I think around 122 or 122.5. Any doubts, just check in my Patreon community. There's a dedicated article still running on the short. The long, we closed it. We were at an average of 112 and we closed it at around 113.5. We got stopped out in profit. We're looking for a new long. My first initial entry that I'm interested in is 109.5. But there are some turmoils coming in. Yes, we can put an all-time high again. We can do the trick once more. I am more conscious of that than anything else, but the risk is increasing. We are kind of stepping into the territory of the gray area. Very important, guys, that you take in consideration where we are on the monthly to understand what I'm trying to say. We are at support of an RSI of 66. Okay, every cycle had a support that held the bull market. And once you break the glasses, that's it. That's the end of the bull market when you lose the support on the monthly, on the RSI. Yes, the volatility has been not diminishing, but it's gone on Bitcoin. So there can be anything incoming. But if we repeat the past performance and we own some sort of respect for the past performance, because 3 times in a row in here, when we broke that support, we went straight into a bear market. The only exception is the past cycle that we broke down and we went for a revenge rally. That gave us that 69K, but still that 69K sent Bitcoin into a bear market. We're currently hovering that RSI 66, and in the price, that is 109.7, which is around where I want to enter in a long, because it's monthly stupid support. But we need to be very cautious, because if it breaks, and let's see where it broke in the past cycle, it broke by going from 57, pushing all the way to 28K. That's a big collapse that happens when you lose that monthly. I might be a little bit over calculating, but you get the point. In this area in here, breaking below that pushes this below it, and we are right there. Not just the first time, but 1, 2, this is the 3rd time that we test it. So hopefully we hold it as support, and then we get some sort of rally into that resistance of 77. 77 is currently trading at 153K, guys. So that is the update for today. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you are glad that I managed to make it back. I wanted to make a separate video telling you very shortly what happened over the weekend, because it was crazy, but I don't think many people are interested in that in this particular channel. Maybe I will do it on Twitter in a separate thing. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.